Hi everyone, welcome to our self-leadership reading club. You can see I'm here in my summer gear. I've just put my kimono on because it's 26 degrees here in the Durham region, Ontario, Canada. Wherever you are, I hope it's a nice day for you too and the sun is shining, or at least you're feeling bright. Self-leadership reading club, what is that? Well, we decided that if you are going to be a leader and lead other people, you need to be able to walk the talk, and you should be continuously improving just along with everyone else, because if we're not growing, what are we doing really? So we are currently reading Jack Canfields, The Success Principles. We are up to a whopping principle number 29. So there is actually 29 episodes so far. We're nearly at our 30th episode. Woo! So if you'd like to go back and rewatch them, you can go to YouTube and look up Self-Leadership Reading Club or Elevate. So today is principle number 29. It is complete the past to embrace the future. And Tuesdays, because I can't remember what date it is, Tuesday's episode. For those watching live, can you tell me what day it is really? For those watching live, you'll know during COVID, so there's no reason for us to know what day it is right now unless you have an appointment or a meeting planned. Anyway, yesterday, we were talking about the fact that if things aren't completed, it's going to frustrate you, and it's going to help you procrastinate, and it's going to create some overwhelm. And we don't want to do that. So today's principle is completing the past to embrace the future, not necessarily things. It's all about forgiveness and moving on. So let's see what Jack Canfield has to say. Does this sound familiar? Some people go through life as if they have a big anchor behind them, weighing them down. And if they could release it, they would be able to move faster and succeed a lot easier. Perhaps that's you, holding on to past hurts, past incompletes that we talked about last episodes, past anger or fear. Yet releasing those anchors can often be the final step you need to complete your past and embrace the future. The truth is, we need to let go of the past to embrace the future. One method he uses is called the total truth process. Now, this is going to sound a little bit out there, but let me tell you, it's quite spectacular. And I've done some work. I worked with a forgiveness coach, which was super interesting. I went to one of their events. Laurie Appleby, if you want to look her up, she actually has a game about it. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, the total truth process and the total truth letter are tools to help you release negative emotions from the past and come back to your natural state of love and joy in the present. Doesn't that sound pretty beautiful? The reason it's called total truth is that often we're upset. We fail to communicate all of our true feelings to the person that we're upset with. Maybe that resonates with you. We get stuck at the level of anger or pain, and we rarely move past it to emotional completion. As a result, it can be difficult to feel close to or even at ease with the other person after such an angry or painful experience. The total truth process helps us express our true feelings so we can recapture the caring, closeness, and cooperation that is actually in our natural state. The process is intended not to let us dump or discharge negative emotions on another, but to allow us to move through the negative emotions and release them so that we can return to the state of love and acceptance that is our own natural state of being, and from which joy and creativity can flow. So how on earth do you do this wonderful experiment, Jack Canfield? The total truth process can be conducted verbally or in writing, okay? Whichever one you want to choose to do. The goal is you need to express all the anger and the hurt and move towards forgiveness and love. Anger and hurt first, moving towards forgiveness and love. There's a reason why it's important to remember this. If you participate verbally, always with the other person's permission, you need to begin by expressing your anger, then move through each stage all the way through to the final stage of love, compassion, and forgiveness. You can use these prompts to keep you focused at each stage, and I'll go through them in a second. For the process to be effective, you need to spend an equal amount of time on each of the six stages. So let me read the stages to you first of all, so you can write these down. Anger and resentment, hurt, fear, remorse, regrets, and accountability, wants, love, compassion, forgiveness, and appreciation. Okay, so let me give you some examples. So anger and resentment, you can start the conversation with, I'm angry that. With hurt, you can use, it hurt me when. Fear, I was afraid that. Remorse, regret, and accountability, please forgive me for. Wants, all I ever wanted. Love, compassion, forgiveness, and appreciation, I understand that. Let me give you an example of that in a flow. I'm angry that this happened. It hurt me when this behavior was displayed. I was afraid that you did this. I'm sorry that I reacted this way. All I ever wanted was to do this. I appreciate blah, 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 right? I hope this makes sense. It's really, really hard for me to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the, I'm going to find the actual process online. I'm going to post it because maybe the way I'm explaining it isn't the best. But you need to follow these steps. Write a letter to the person who's upset you with roughly equal portions of each feelings in that process. If the other party is not someone who's likely to agree or cooperate, you might just simply write it and then throw it away, okay? Like for those that do burning bowl ceremonies, the same kind of thing. Remember, the main purpose is to set you free from these unexpressed emotions and not to actually change the other person, because we all know we can't change someone else. We can change how we react to them, and we can change ourselves only. If the person you're upset with is actually willing to participate, have them write a letter to you, a total truth letter to you, and then exchange letters. And both of you should be present when you read the letters, discuss the experience, and avoid trying to defend your position. Make an effort to understand where the other person is coming from. And after some practice, you might find that you can go through those 6 stages really, really quickly. So it sounds really simple, and it's worth a try. Everything's worth a try, right? But if you hang on to these emotions, if you hang on to this toxicity, what's very likely to happen is that a friend of mine, Barbara, she explained it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. You're just holding on to these bitterness and things like that. You just express them, get them out, whether you actually give it to the other person or not. Express these emotions, journal, whatever you have to do. It's toxic. These things are toxic to stay in the system. It is hard to let go. There are steps in forgiving, and sometimes forgiveness includes yourself, as I'm sure maybe you've had experience with. All of these steps are integral to forgiving. You need to acknowledge your anger and resentment. Here it is. Here's what's coming up for me. Acknowledge the hurt and the pain it created by having this anger and resentment. Acknowledge the fears and the self-doubts it created from having those emotions. Own any part that you played in letting it occur or even continue, right? Because it's a choice whether you allow that behavior to continue. Acknowledge what you are wanting that you didn't get, and then put yourself in their shoes and attempt to understand where they're coming from, and then let go and forgive the person. So Jack Canfield suggests that you make a list of anyone you feel has hurt you and how. And then one by one, take as many days as you need, go through the total truth process with each person. Interesting. But I'm going to leave you with this. Now, I spoke to you before about affirmations. And affirmations is really just self-talk, okay? It's put into, a modified sentence so that you can be very specific about how you're talking to yourself. This is a really cool affirmation. I really, really like it. It says, one final technique for helping you forgive is to recite this affirmation several times each day that you're feeling the anger and hurt and resentment. I release myself from all the demands and judgments that have kept me limited. I allow myself to go free, to live in joy and love and peace. I allow myself to create fulfilling relationships, to have success in my life, to experience pleasure, to know that I am worthy and to deserve to have what I want. I now go free. In that process, I release all others from any demands and expectations I have placed on them. I choose to be free. I allow others to be free, and I forgive myself, and I forgive them. And so it is. Isn't that awesome? You can do it. Get rid of any toxicity, unexpressed emotions. Just get rid of it. You don't need that. You want to live in a place of joy and happiness, and you can spread that on to other people. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Next episode is on principle number 30, and it's all about facing what isn't working. I'm going to leave you with this quote. Oh, that's interesting. That's the one that I mentioned before about drinking poison. None of us can change our yesterdays, but all of us can change our tomorrows. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you next Tuesday, guys.